Today, you're going to learn English with the news. We're going to read a news article together, and you're going to learn a lot of advanced grammar, natural vocabulary, and even pronunciation by reading this article. Welcome back to J4S English Training. Of course, I'm Jennifer, and this is your place to become a fluent, confident English speaker. Let's get started. Welcome to our article. If you're a football fan, you'll love this article. And if not, that's okay. You'll still love it for all the advanced English grammar and vocabulary you're going to learn. So let's review our title here. The article is titled World Cup 2022. Cristiano Ronaldo says row with Manchester United will not shake Portugal. Okay, first of all here, row says row with Manchester United. Now, row means fight. So row is actually British English, and this is an article from the BBC, so it is British English. I speak American English, and we use the word fight. It says fight with Manchester United. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Okay, fight. Row is fight. And here, of course, we have Cristiano Ronaldo. United are exploring their legal options as they look to end Ronaldo's time at the club following his critical interview with Talk TV. Now, when I first saw this, I thought this was quite odd because look at our subject, United. I'm not a football fan, but I know just from context that United is the name of the team. I hope that's correct. Manchester United. So United is the name of the team that Ronaldo plays for. So why, if this is United, there's no S on it, why are we using the verb are? Because we know that are is conjugated with we are, they are, or the subject you are. You, we, or they are. But we know that is, our subject is, would be he, she, it is for our verb to be conjugation. So if United is singular and would represent it as a subject, why is it conjugated as they and the verb to be is are? My best guess is because they're referring to United maybe managers. United managers are exploring. United coaches are exploring. United leaders. I'm not sure who else would be on the team, what the language they would use. But that is the only explanation I can give you for why it has are. But there needs to be something plural here. United managers are exploring their legal options. Because notice here, as they make sense because we know our subject is you, we, they, because we have the verb to be. So this subject, United, it's the same here as they. So I guess you can think of it as United managers are. All right. Ronaldo, 37, said he felt betrayed by the club. He stated he had no respect for manager Erik ten Hag. Okay. He felt betrayed, to feel betrayed. Notice how the word betray is being used as an adjective. And we commonly use the verbs are or feel when we have an adjective that follows it. And I'm pointing this out because we can use betray as a verb. So this is also a verb. You could say, Erik betrayed Ronaldo. I'm just using his last name here, Ronaldo. Eric betrayed Ronaldo. So this is our verb to betray, and it's just conjugated in the past simple. So this is the past simple. I could say Eric always betrays Ronaldo. And this is, of course, our present simple. So it's our verb betray, and we can use it in different time references. I could also put this in the passive voice, which is quite common when we have the verb betray. And we can say, Ronaldo, do you know what the passive would be? Ronaldo was betrayed by Eric. Now, of course, in the passive, you don't have to include by and the person. That's optional. So you could just say Ronaldo was betrayed. Ronaldo was betrayed. And this is the passive voice. So here, he felt betrayed. Betrayed is our adjective describing his feeling. In my life, the best timing is always my timing, Ronaldo said on Monday. Now, pay attention when you're reading something, because whenever we have quotations, you know that someone is talking directly. So these are the exact words that Ronaldo said. And you know that because you see them in these are called quotation marks. Quotation marks. Quotation marks. And we use the word quotation marks. We also say, you could say for example, Ronaldo was quoted as saying, and then it would say in my life. So notice the word quoted that comes from quotation marks. And then of course this continues. And sometimes when celebrities or leaders are doing business interviews or any interview, a sports interview, they'll ask for a quote. Can you give us a quote on your opinion? And then they'll share their quote and it will appear in quotation marks. Making a surprise appearance at a news conference, the Portugal captain said, again, our quotation marks, I don't have to think about what other people think. I speak when I want. The players know me really well for many years and know the type of person I am. Now notice this is in a quotation. So this is what Ronaldo said word for word. Because he said for many years, if I were to rewrite this, I would use a different verb tense in this specific sentence. The players know me really well. Now, it's possible when he was speaking, he just said, the players know me really well. And then he paused and he added on for many years. And that's common in spoken English. So the sentence structure might not match because you add something on that could change the verb tense. Because for many years does not go with the present simple. They're not compatible. When you see for many years, do you know what verb tense we need? We need an action that started in the past and continues until now and will continue into the future. That's the present perfect. So instead of know, it would be better if Ronaldo had said, the players have known me for many years. The players have known me. This is our present perfect, have known. For our present perfect, we need has or have as the auxiliary. And we use have for you, we, and they. And then we need our verb in the past simple. So, or our third form of the verb, the participle, the past participle, third form. The players have known me for many years. Now, you could also say since. The players have known me since 2005. So you can give a specific time reference and use since. The players have known me since 2005. Since I was 21, for example. Let's move on. It's an ambitious group that is hungry and focused. So I'm sure it won't shake the changing room's concentration and focus. Now notice this is a quote. So this is Ronaldo talking. This, I want you to notice, sometimes in written English, especially in the news, you might see something in square brackets. This is additional information to provide context because right now, so I'm sure what's the it? We don't know. It's not clear because this is a quote. So the it could have been talked about before, but we're only hearing this one section of the conversation. So it's not clear to us what it is, and it's not easy to understand it. So whoever wrote the article, the author of this article, is giving us the information we need in square brackets, and it's in square brackets to let me know that Ronaldo did not say this. It's only to provide context. So I'm sure it being the interview that he gave. This whole article is about an interview that he gave. I'm sure the interview won't shake the changing room's concentration and focus. Notice this, it won't shake, to shake. This is an idiom because it's being used in a specific context. Right now, I just have my phone here. I could shake my phone, to shake. Why would I do that, right? Now, let's say you have a juice. You might shake your juice before you drink it. So there are many things you probably shake, and this is the motion of shaking. That doesn't make sense in this context, right? So when a verb, the literal meaning of the verb doesn't make any sense, it's because it's idiomatic, which means it has an alternative meaning, a non-literal meaning. So that is something shakes something. Okay, so in this case, it's the interview. I'm putting it in the past simple, shook. I shook my drink. The action is completed. I just shook my drink. The interview shook the world, for example. What does that mean? The interview shook the world. When something shakes something the interview shook something, the world, it means to cause a disturbance. To cause a disturbance. You can think of it as, in a way, to interrupt. So the players were playing, they were practicing, and then Ronaldo did this interview and it disturbed them in some way. It impacted them. It affected them. It interrupted what they were doing. So there are different ways you can think of it. Disturb is probably the easiest one you can think of. To cause a disturbance. So to disturb, I'll just make it short. To disturb, to interrupt, to affect even. So the interview disturbed them, affected them in some way. 5-time Ballon d'Or winner Ronaldo will lead Portugal into their opening Group H game against Ghana on Thursday. So here they're just giving some background on who Ronaldo is. I don't think there's much here we need to discuss. He has just over 7 months remaining on his 500,000 euro a week contract at Old Trafford, but United could terminate the forward's contract, which would leave him free to sign for another club when the transfer window opens in January. Okay. He has just over. Now, over in this case means more than. So it could be 7.5 months. It could be 8 months. It could be 9 months. That's over 7 months. But when I add the word just, now I know it's a small amount. So it's not 9 months. It's not 8.5 because that's not just. Just would be 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, maybe 7.5 would be just. So a small amount. So just. A small amount more, I would say. A small amount more. And then over is more than. So remember, they could only say over. He has over 7 months, but then it's not clear because 24 months is over 7 months. So it's a very wide time frame. But if I add just over, I know it's a small amount more. But you have to include the over as well. You can't say just 7 months remaining, just over 7 months remaining. Let's continue on. All right. He has not played because of an unspecified illness since he captained United in their 3-1 defeat at Aston Villa on 6 November. But he says he feels in shape for what will be his 5th World Cup. His 5th World Cup. That is very impressive. Notice here, since, and then we have a specific time reference. Now, it's not clear that it's a specific time reference because it just says since he captained the game. But he captained the game on a specific date. So that could have been, for example, I have no idea when it was, but let's just say it was May 23rd. Okay, so that is since May 23rd. It's a specific time. Don't worry about this. He captained the game. It's just because Ronaldo is the captain of the team. So this is very much a sports specific word. Just if you're confused about seeing captain as a verb in the past form, just ignore that. It's a sports reference because he's the captain of the team. Going back to since, a specific date. Now, let's go back to our verb tense. You can always find the verb tense at the beginning of the sentence, and it will be after the subject because we have subject, verb, then object, the rest of the sentence. So here is our verb tense. And what do you notice? It's in the present perfect because we have since. And that goes back to the change I made to Ronaldo's quote previously. Now notice here, of course, we have has because he has. If it was we, it would be, we have not played. We have not played. You have not played. They have not played. You, we, they. And notice where we put our negative. Now, in written English, especially in the media, they tend to avoid contractions because it's more formal to say have not. But if I wanted to turn this into a contraction, which is very common in many forms of written English, you can, of course, say he hasn't. He hasn't. He hasn't played. But generally, the media tends to avoid contractions, and academic English definitely avoids contractions. But if you're writing something for an everyday English purpose, such as an email at work, then you can use the contracted form. That would be my recommendation. If you're ever in doubt, then just use the full non-contracted form because it will sound proper and correct in any situation. Let's continue on. I wanted to discuss this. He feels in shape. He feels in shape. Now, this is a great expression. Here, it's being used with the verb feel, which you can do. I would say it's more commonly used with the verb to be in shape. And I say more commonly because be describes your current state. I am tired. It describes how I feel, how I am right now. But we commonly, like I just did, we commonly use the verb feel to replace the verb to be. Okay, so you can say feel, to be or to feel in shape. I am tired. I feel tired. To be in shape is to describe yourself in good physical condition. Good physical condition. And of course, Ronaldo as an athlete is in shape. So good physical condition. Now, the opposite is, I'll put it down here for you, to be out of shape. So notice in good physical condition, out, bad physical condition, to be out of shape. So this is bad physical condition. So you could say, for example, I go to the gym 5 times a week. I'm in great shape. You can simply say, I'm in shape. That's fine. But if you don't have an adjective, I would probably just say it represents good. I'm in shape. I'm in good physical condition. But what if you want to say, I'm in great shape? Great obviously is better than good. I'm in amazing shape. I'm in excellent shape. So we commonly add an adjective. The same is true for the opposite, out of shape. So let me give you an example there as well. Okay, I haven't gone to the gym since last year. Notice I'm using the present perfect because my time reference started in the past and continues until now. And this is a negative. I haven't gone to the gym since last year. I'm in terrible shape. So I took my in shape, but I gave it a negative adjective. You can absolutely do that. I'm in terrible shape. I'm in awful shape. I'm in the worst shape. Okay? But you can also use out of shape. So you can say, I'm out of shape. So remember here, you can add an adjective. And then if your adjective is negative, it's obviously going to change the definition from good to whatever the adjective is. Terrible shape, awful shape, horrible shape. I feel that this Portugal squad has amazing potential. I think we can win for sure, but we need to focus on the next game. So it's focusing on Ghana, get a win, and go from there. But we'll see in the end who the best team is. But I believe Portugal is the best team in this World Cup. But we need to show it on the pitch. Now, obviously, because this was in quotes, this was Ronaldo talking. And he, according to him, this is what he said, he believes Portugal is the best team in the World Cup. So, do you agree with that? Do you think Portugal is the best team in the World Cup? You can leave your answer in the comments below. And I hope you enjoyed this article. Amazing job with this article. Think of all the advanced grammar, natural vocabulary, and even pronunciation that you learned in this lesson. I want you to take your favorite new expression from this lesson and leave an example sentence practicing in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe. And before you go, make sure you head on over to my website, jforrestenglish.com, and download your free speaking guide. In this guide, I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. And until next time, happy studying!